fulfill the local match requirement through the Urban Revitalization Plan tax exemption. This plan provides 100% exemption on the allowable portions of property taxes for the increased assessed value of multifamily residences for the first 7 years. The financial impact, the estimated total value of the tax exemption over the 7-year period is approximately $123,744.95. Questions?
Are these for sale or rent, Mark? Will these be for sale or rent?
I believe Joe intends on selling those.
Joe does?
Yeah, it's Joe Gallus.
Yep.
He's remodeling the county home
Yep.
for apartments, and then he's got ground behind it. And what he indicated to me is he wants to put townhouses behind there.
And they're between the sheriff and...
Yeah,
Okay.
and then he'll sell those townhouses, similar to what he's doing over by the old Lamar's Mutual.
Right.
Same type
Okay,
concept.
I was just, that answered that.
That's a great location and a good repurpose of the home too.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
So we get 3 of these coming up. I know they're all in step with what we've done in the past.
Correct.
100%. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Where are we at on that housing study we were promised?
That, on Thursday, the LBIC Housing Committee will meet with the group that did that for us, and we'll have it by the end of the day on Thursday.
Good.
So, and that's the date they had indicated they'd get it.
I couldn't remember. I knew it was sometime in May.
Yep.
I knew it was sometime in May.
Any other questions? I seek a motion.
Motion to adopt resolution 2521, approving the workforce housing tax credit program application to the Iowa Economic Development Authority for the construction of multifamily units by JG1 LLC.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Could I have a roll call, please?
Bruns,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yep.
Wick,
Yes?
Thick,
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Item E4, assistance request, Deluxury Real Estate LLC. Deluxury Real Estate LLC is proposing to construct a 12-unit apartment building on the west side of Lamar's near the airport. The company is seeking financial assistance to help cover a portion of the project costs and is requesting approval from the City of Lamar's to submit an application to the Iowa Economic Development Authority for funding through the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program. The administration recommends that the city fulfill the local match requirement through the Urban Revitalization Plan tax exemption. This plan provides 100% exemption on the allowable portions of property taxes for the increased assessed value of multifamily residences for the first 7 years. The financial impact is the estimated total value of the tax exemption over the 7-year period is approximately $70,513.27.
So are these for rent too? These are for rent? Or these are for sale? I know we've got some out there.
Yeah, this is Adam Brown's
Okay.
project, and those would be for rent.
These would
Correct,
be
Adam?
all
12-plex,
Yeah, 12-plex for rent.
12 what?
12 units for rent.
Okay. Is the infrastructure in, I was gonna ask that too on the first one, but is the infrastructure in for most of these already, Jason?
Yes, this is at the back of my lot.
So it's basically there?
Yep.
Okay.
The first one, Clark, Joe will have to probably take off our water main, take a water line into those 10 townhomes.
Okay,
But the water main is out there already, the same with Adams, it's already out there, that stuff.
okay, so we would,
Sewer water.
like with Joe's, we'd be splitting the street, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
Or he doesn't,
There wouldn't be any
we won't need a street for them? Really?
You'd have to put the street in like you did up at Lamar's Mutual.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming that everything's gonna be private, but
Okay.
for all three of these, yeah, we have utilities.
They're in there,
All
okay,
three of them.
okay, that's what I wanted to know, thank you.
Any other questions?
Once again, it is in step with what we have done in the past. So, yeah, thank you for that.
And I'd take a motion.
Motion to adopt resolution 2522 approving workforce housing tax credit program application to the Iowa Economic Development Authority for the construction of multifamily units by Deluxury Real Estate LLC.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. May I have any other discussion, excuse me? May I have a roll call, please?
Goodchild,
Yep,
Wick,
Yes?
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Pick,
Yes.
Bruns.
Yep.
Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Moving on, item 5, assistance request for Axis Capital LLC. Axis Capital LLC is proposing to construct 40 townhouse units on an 8.44 acre parcel along Holton Drive and near Walmart. The company is seeking financial assistance to help cover a portion of the project costs and is requesting approval from the City of Lamar's to submit an application to the Iowa Economic Development Authority for funding through the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program. The administration recommends that the city fulfill the local match requirement through the Urban Revitalization Plan and tax exemption. This plan provides 100% exemption on the allowable portions of property taxes for the increased assessed value of multifamily residences for the first 7 years. The estimated total value of the tax exemption over the 7-year period is approximately $341,208.97. Any questions?
Mark, who's Axis?
Axis is out of Orange City. Tyler Spahn, one of the owners, is here. They have a lot of rental properties around the state, I believe. And I believe you have the old Abbey in Lamar's?
Yep, and Royal Park Apartments, it's next to the YMCA.
The old bone break, going to
Bone
the
break.
fire station
don't break. Messlizer doesn't own that anymore? I didn't,
too.
I didn't know that, okay.
I don't know if it's part of this discussion, but everyone always talks about we need more affordable housing. Do we have an idea where these would come in as far as the price? I mean, I don't need to pin you down to anything.
Yeah, as far as rental rates you're saying?
Or rental or sale, these are rentals?
Yeah, they would be for rent.
Okay.
You know, the 3 bedrooms we're projecting around $1,595, and the 2 bedrooms around $1,300.
Okay.
Are these 3-story units,
2-story.
2-story?
Yep. So it'll be the bedrooms and kitchen up on the 2nd floor, and then a 2-stall garage on the main floor. 3-bedroom will have a bedroom on the main floor as well.
They all got two-stall garages?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
It's, even though they're rentals, it's something that we really don't offer in Lamar's right now, so, and they'll be near the industrial park. And just as a point of reference, that's that piece of ground we're rezoning behind Baumgart's that.
Right, I figured that's where it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I assumed that last week already.
Motion to adopt resolution 2523 approving the Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program application to the Iowa Economic Development Authority for the construction of multifamily units by Axis Capital LLC.
I have a motion, do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I guess I'd like to just make a comment before you guys vote, and it doesn't impact this vote, but Clark, you brought up on several occasions that we need to take a look at our 7-year tax abatement program, and we will. But what Tyler, through our conversations, what the state of Iowa did last year, and I think you guys are aware, is that tax exemption that we offer no longer includes the school portion of those taxes.
The school, right.
And so that impacts what these developers get as an exemption. And Tyler pointed out to me that our surrounding communities and our competitors do provide a 10-year versus our 7. And now that we don't include that, that school portion, something to think about as we evaluate the program. Because without the exemption, it would make it difficult for him to follow through. And he also pointed out to me that Sioux Center had the 7-year exemption. They actually went to 10 to help mitigate that. Not asking for any type of decision, but just a point of information when we go into those discussions, because I promised you guys a housing study to talk about the need for multifamily and all these things as you evaluate that.
And thanks for bringing that up, because that was going to come up in our, in
Yeah,
discussion.
and that needs to be a council discussion once I get you guys the housing study.
Right.
And we talk about those things in general.
Because while you are correctly quoting me, I also had made statements that, I'm not gonna support any new until we have that, but
Correct.
in the light that, in reviewing it, at first, I was like, I don't think, but since this has been our history, and until the council takes an official stance
Yeah.
on what we choose, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I'm not gonna change the direction of how we've been.
Sure.
But I want that discussion. It was gonna come up, and probably will, in about 15 minutes during ours, where I want that on an agenda. The other thing that kind of bothers me about comparing to Orange City and Sioux Center really is we're dealing with college towns, and I think there's a difference with the amount of people for the amount of rental properties. And I just don't want to get top heavy. I do not want to get top heavy in this stuff. So that's my concern, but that I'm gonna demand be on an agenda very soon, because we need to discuss it, set a policy, and then stand on that policy.
And within a week, you will have a copy. of the
Sure,
housing study.
absolutely.
I'll get that to each councilman.
You bet.
So
on
Mark-
that study, does it cover the whole town?
Yes.
Because, it covers, because between whoever's listening, I have current landlords that have commented to me on more than one occasion that, why are you using my tax dollars to fund competition to me? Why are you using my property taxes to actually fund competition that is going to be against them? And so that's something that I've at least heard, and that's one of the considerations that I'm looking at. So appreciate that. Thanks.
Mark, I'm just, with respect to the community development plan, in order to reach our goal, what's the annual number of housing units we need to provide?
109,
Yeah.
approximately 190.
Okay. I just, quick math, we've got 115 that we just are either approving, going forward with these exemptions, or, the approval of the platting. So, we continue to move toward,
190 a year, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
and granted, the Dogwood 4th and 5th aren't necessarily gonna be all filled in a year, but just as we continue to move forward.
Creating
we're-
inventory.
Correct.
Yes. And you got Parkview in there as well, which you probably don't have in your number.
No, I just was adding what we are doing is in front of us today, so.
Yep.
Right.
So not even addressing if we would get top heavy, I think the easy answer for those existing landlords is as we increase our tax base, it helps everyone. So we need to get more people paying taxes once they get past this period. Just how-
And I would just say to that too, you could use that in everything. Why are we gonna use TIF to try to attract another hotel, which is competition to the existing hotels? Why would we ever want another restaurant, which is competition to the existing ones? Why would we incentivize somebody to build a single-family home? Because that just means it's another option. Somebody could buy a different house than mine. It works in every aspect. So,
To a certain degree, I would agree with that, but to a certain degree.
I think affordable housing is a key issue here, and, until we can increase supply, no offense, but, the three-bedroom townhome, I, suspect the reaction on what you're suggesting for rental was maybe a little, eye-catching. So, again, no offense to you guys that are taking the risk to build these, but, if we're looking to provide affordable housing, and frankly, when you start to look at single-family homes, workforce housing, I mean, we're talking 250. So the reality is apartments and townhomes are actually sort of the entry-level housing anymore. So I mean, it's, you know, it's just the way the costs of construction are, and so, you know, until, and again, I'm not trying to drive your rentals down. I truly mean that, but I you know, it's just, you know, the market, you know, hopefully balancing out the market with those things in mind.
Good discussion. Any other questions, concerns? Then could I have a roll call, please?
Wick,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yep.
Bruns,
Yep.
Fick,
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Moving on. Item 6, the Centennial Asbestos Abatement Project. Bids were received and opened on May 14, 2025 at 1 p.m. for the Centennial Asbestos Abatement Project. Total of 8 bids were received. The bid tab is attached. Administration is recommending council award the project to the lowest bidder. The rough estimate for the project was $242,000 based on a 2012 report. We had chances to look at the bids.
Yeah, the bids are actually pretty good.
This one.
We've used
This one.
EPS before, Environmental Property Solutions. I think they've done probably 2 different projects for us. So, yeah, so I would recommend you accept it. And then the dates for removal would be August 1st through August 29th, so the month of August essentially. And then I would anticipate, once you award this, I think we'll start working on the papers needed to go off bid for demo.
Yes.
And then have demo set up for shortly after this is removed.
August 17th.
So,
Motion to adopt resolution 2524, awarding the contract for the Centennial Asbestos Abatement Project to Environmental Property Solutions in the amount of $163,000.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Fick,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yep.
Wick,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Moving on, our last action item of the meeting. Downtown Traffic Signal Modernization Project, the award of contract. Council set this as the date to consider bids received for the Downtown Traffic Signal Modernization Project. 1 bid was received and opened on May 7, 2025 at 3 p.m. The bid tab is attached. The base bid included fiber optic cabling between 3 intersections, signal heads, pedestrian equipment, controllers, signal poles, and mast arms for Plymouth Street intersections, signal heads, pedestrian equipment, and controllers at the First Street intersection. The unit price bid included miscellaneous concrete work at all intersections. And bid alternate 1 included signal poles and mast arms at First Street intersection. We have the information before us. The financial impact, the estimate was $885,800 for all intersections. Project to be funded using lost funds.
okay, so you can see the estimate we were working off of is quite a bit lower than the actual 1 bid we received of $1.3 million. A couple reasons. So we have 2 options. We either accept that, award that contract, or reject it, as I put here. So the recommendation, I'll first go some possible reasons. We've had quite a few discussions with the engineer, and the engineer has reached out and gotten comments. There wasn't a whole lot of interest. There was, I believe, 3 contractors that reached out to the engineer when it went out for bid. One did not bid because of the timeline. It was just too quick for them to, they didn't think they could perform it in that time frame, which was June 22nd through November 30th. So we wanted it done this year yet. They didn't think they could get the poles, get all the work done before that would happen, so they didn't even put a bid in. Another contractor said no, just because they're on the east side of the state, and it's just out of their territory, so they didn't do it. But so we got the one bid from the contractor we expected to get a bid from, and I believe who's actually worked on our poles before. So
Where are they at? Nordstrom, like, where are they from?
City. Yeah.
Out of Sioux City?
City.
Okay, keep going, Jason, sorry.
Yeah. So that, and there was a couple other things that drove the price up was just the price of the poles and the uncertainty of what the poles could cost by the time they get to them, because the issue is you can get a quote, like they could get a quote to put on this piece of paper and submit as a bid, but by the time they go through approval of drawings and get to the point where they're actually ordering the poles, could be months down the line, and the price of poles could change quite a bit in those months. So they figure that stuff and give themselves enough room in there. So that elevated the price. Another issue, a small issue, but it was a noticeable issue, was the requirement for a maintenance bond. And where we saw that increase because of the maintenance bond was the concrete prices. We did hear from one contractor that they had a price for concrete. We reiterated that we needed a maintenance bond. The concrete contractor then raised his price. So those are some reasonings for, I guess, the low number of bids and the price of the bids.